Mark. Oh yeah, they're going to a conference. Fuck what? Hiss.
Yeah, and he's like, you're tickling my ear. Is
that when they're marching?
Yeah. This is Natasha Hodgson, who is the co-writer, performer, and singer, comedian, but was most recently on the West End in Operation Mincemeat, which is what we're talking about. And that is literally, I'm not just saying it because she's here, the best thing I've ever seen on the West End. And you have just finished your run.
Yes.
And you've handed over to a new cast.
Couldn't be more pleased to do that. Yeah, we handed over to the new cast this summer, having done it for like a year and a half in the Fortune Theatre in the West End. And yeah, now, so I'm a free no to come and get complimented, which is all I really want.
And
anyway.
You are going to get complimented.
Yes, it's going to be worth it.
So this is FREDFLIX, brought to you by Cineworld, which is why we're in a Cineworld cinema. And this is a film and TV podcast. But first, I'm going to love bomb you about Operation Mincemeat because I love it that much. And if you look it up, if you haven't heard of it, you're stupid. Just look it up. First thing I want to say is when I first went to see it, I saw it on I don't know if you had a press week or something, but it was a press night.
Yes, we had like a press night and a gala night, which is sort of the same thing, but it just means they can do it twice.
Yeah, and I had no idea what it was, and I went in, and what I said at half time to my girlfriend, now fiance, was I said it was the show.
Yes.
Yeah. I said to her,
making hearts, making lives.
I was like, this was not written recently. I was like.
That's what I wanted to do.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, these people, because we were at a press night and I was like, it was supposed to be the first week of the show.
Yes.
And so I was like, they haven't just met. They haven't just been rehearsing this for a few months.
Only.
They've been doing this for a long time. There's too much chemistry.
Yes.
And then I Googled it, and then I went down the rabbit hole. And I was like, oh, you've been doing it.
Yeah, so the creators of it, we met at university, actually.
Right.
So we've known each other for 2 years. We're all very young. So yeah, we've known each other for a long time. So we've been making like comedy together, and we made like comedy plays together. And for a few years, we took them to the Fringe and stuff. Yeah. And we just started noticing that we started putting in more and more like little songy bits. And I think we were all a bit in denial that ultimately what we wanted to do was write a musical.
Did you all know you could sing? You're all really good singers.
No, I mean I was in a band with the other composers. So basically, how we met was me and Zoe and Dave, who were in it, met at university, and separately to that, I was in a band with a guy called Felix.
Okay.
And then basically, we were writing plays together. We started putting more little songy bits in, and then I recruited Felix because I knew he was a very good composer. Like we all sort of wanted to compose together, and then we started writing together. And so we thought, I think we are obviously. I'm loving the love bombing. Keep it coming. But like, I think we're okay singers. But I think what we did cleverly was be like, I know where I can sing well, so let's make sure when we write these songs, the songs that we sing are between these ranges, and it sort of sounds like this.
Interesting.
Because then we can give you the illusion of greatness.
That is interesting. Do you know what? The reason I say that though is because there's nothing to paper over your singing. Like you'd think if you don't think you're a good singer, which I think you are,
thanks,
there would be more production. But you've kept it really stripped back, and that's part of the charm of it.
It is, yeah. Well, it's only 5 people on stage the whole time. It's very like there's lots of hats and there's everyone plays a bunch of different characters. And I think that started because we simply had no money. Yay! We had like a box of hats that we got down a pound shop, and it was like, great, we'll make a show about this World War II spy operation, this crazy spy operation that they did in World War II, and that's what it's all about. But we had no funding really, and this was the 3 of us. We hired 2 more brilliant actors who then joined us in the West End as well, to kind of round out the cast, and we just put it on at a beautiful theatre, an 80-seat theatre called the New Diorama, which is amazing for sort of new and upcoming artists. They do a load of like new stuff, and it's really, really valuable. And then we kind of started snowballing from there, and we kind of like rewrote it and changed it, did it a bunch of times, and after A Devil's Pact, we got it on the West End.
It's such a good story.
Yeah, it's an amazing story.
I would like to ask you, what are your thoughts on West End to film crossovers or vice versa? Do you think there are any ones that you think have done well?
I could talk about this all day, because obviously I think about it quite a lot, like, because I think there's a weird thing with trying to translate a stage show to a filmic thing in that it's almost always deeply embarrassing.
What do you mean?
Okay, on stage, when you walk into the theatre, you kind of make a pact with everyone around you that you're going to go, people are going to start singing on there, and we're all going to be fine with it. Like, we're not going to be like, like,
that's true.
That's not what happens. And also just like the whole thing of stage being like, they're going to walk out wearing a kind of weird outfit, they're going to tell me a story, and I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to try and join in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to...
Do you know what though as well? Sorry to interrupt. You know, when the artifice of stage is like taken away, the audience does get awkward. Like I felt when I went to see, it was in the Fortune Theatre before. Was it Woman in Black? Yeah. And at the start, the lights are up. And like, there's always a tension when the audience feel like, are we needed? Are we part of this right now?
Do something?
Yeah, because there's something really safe about the lights going down. You do what You'll do.
Yeah, we know our job. You know your job.
Yeah.
And I think that what it does, you know, because the play, our musical starts with me literally just sitting on the stage in a man's suit, clearly dressed as a boy, but not so much that you can't tell that I'm a woman. You know, my hair's in a bun. Like, it's not an amazing transformation. But I think what we're trying to do with that is kind of say, hi, I'm going to be playing a man. Just go with it. And because it's the theatre, everyone goes, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you for that. That understood. And we're going to go on with that, because that's what kind of that's the magic of theatre. Is you kind of the players go, this is the rule, and the audience go, okay, fine. And I think that's harder in film, because film is so naturalistic. I mean, traditional film is, and so in a film when something happens that isn't in the realm of the rules of the reality that's being presented, there's a jarring to it there. And I think that it's so I think musical films that do that really successfully are ones that acknowledge that, and so what they do is they put a kind of structure on top of it to create a new reality. So I'll give you an example. So one of my favourite films is Chicago. We talked about it earlier. And what that does is the film opens with going into Roxy Hart's brain, and he goes, the first shot of that movie is going into her eye. And so the film is saying, this is her perspective. She's kind of weird. She sees things as like both musical and not. And because you're given those ground rules, the audience then go, okay, fine. It's kind of about her perspective. And so when you have the kind of mix of like, it's a jazz club, and then it's suddenly a whole musical production. It doesn't feel embarrassing.
That's such a good point.
Whereas
I never thought about that.
Oh, honestly, I think about it all the time. Whereas I watched West Side Story recently, the new Spielberg one. I think it's a beautiful musical, and I think it's one of those things where it's like, if Spielberg can't make it not embarrassing, it can't be done. And you know what? When they started singing A Boy Like That, I got a bit cringe. I just got a little...
Was that the first song?
No, the first song is like, it's all the boys coming out. Yeah,
because I found that a bit embarrassing.
Of course you did. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Because like it's really, really hard to do, and I think unless you give it a framing device of like, you need to heighten the reality from the bat. Because I think if you heighten the reality, it's like anything with like Guillermo del Toro films, and like I rewatched Pan's Labyrinth recently, and I think his stuff like just it's so clearly quite early on set in a thing like this is like a fantastical thing. Is it the girl's imagination? Is it? It's like you are given the tools to say, this is okay. This isn't the real world. Yeah. Like, and I think to make a musical film successful, you need to give a bit of that. It could be that I'm wrong, and actually there are loads of films that do it. But like, I think for me, I really do end up feeling the cringe, and I write the bloody thing.
Yeah, you did it. I completely agree, and I hadn't thought about it. But when you think about successful musical films, the heightened reality is the kind of thread between them. I feel like I can't really think of many recently.
What do you think about movies?
Like really successful ones.
They're very hard.
When you think about something like Grease, how's that working then, though?
Well, I think basically, first of all, I think there was more of an appetite for people just singing. Just
to start singing.
Because it came out of like, there was the golden age of Hollywood, obviously, where it's like Singing in the Rain and things like that, where it was kind of taken from musicals. So people were very used to entertainment being, we go and we watch people sing and dance. That's what we do anyway. So I think there was more of like, it was more in the kind of diluted in the public view to be like, and I think those films hold up because they look so golden age of Hollywood. Like when you watch Singing in the Rain, like you're like, oh great, we're in that world of
but the
it's
sets
Hollywood.
Seem like artificial enough to make it feel stagey.
Yeah, exactly. And also often these things are set in the world of me. I think the reason that La La Land did really well is because, again, what it does is it's set in the world of like, is this real? Is this not? It's the movies. It's Hollywood. Like it's drawing on the golden age of Hollywood stuff to kind of give you that permission to go, this is the dreamy, hazy world where people sing and people dance. So that when people start fucking singing and dancing, you're not like, I mean, there's a reason there aren't a lot of musicals set in like, you know, Wall Street. Maybe there should be.
That would be a good one.
That would be a good one. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street the musical would be absolutely incredible. But actually, that's a bad example because I think Wall Street is actually quite a heightened reality, and
it's
I think
definitely
going to
happen. I didn't think they've all the adaptations from film to West End.
Yes.
You know, someone mentioned. What was the one that really surprised? Back to the Future. I'd
forgotten. Back to the Future. Yeah, I've not actually seen it, but apparently, people really like it. I think the thing about that musical is that I think there's a lot of music in Back to the Future. Like obviously, like Huey Lewis in the News basically did. Yeah. Was that right? Is it Huey Lewis in the News?
I can't.
There's
remember.
A lot of and like The Power of Love. Phil Collins is in that. And
but
like
you're right. It's kind of a character in the film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so I think you think of lots of songs and think, oh, that's Back to the Future. Yeah. And so when you see them on stage, you probably just think, yeah, correct. Power of Love is Back to the Future. Like, you're not stressed out by it.
So have you enjoyed seeing any of them since you stopped and being like, I enjoy just watching people laugh?
I've seen it a couple of times now. I think I need to see it a few more times because it's still completely bizarre to me to watch it.
Like you're watching your own memory?
Yeah. Like it's just like, because all I can really see is being like, yeah, and then take that, and then if you go around running
that would be so
just
weird.
Like, and you know, obviously, because people make different choices, and that's the right thing to do, and so you kind of go, oh, that's a different choice, but no, it does work. It work. Yeah, no, it's working, it's fine, it's good. Okay, no, and like, I think because you. As writers, I think if you write and perform something, you have to be a kind of bit of a weird perfectionist narcissist anyway, just because the control that is required to want to do that. And so it's been hard in a way to kind of like just try and let go of that control. But like they're so good and it's doing so well, and like we couldn't have found better people, and like it's really joyful to like watch it be. It's like weird. It's like watching your kid go to school. It's like, oh, they won't want to hug me as much anymore, but like they're going to learn maths now.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the new cast. I'm so excited.
Yeah, you'll have it may be people that because like there's a couple of them that have stayed on, but they're magnificent, and we're very proud.
So how do you think you would edit for a screen performance? Maybe not the same role, but do you think you would approach it differently? Takes and things like that? I
don't know. Like I've done, all I've really done in my life is stage. So I feel very safe doing things with lots of people there, and I don't and editing a performance and changing it based on like many repetitions and many responses. So I think I would find it quite scary to be like, oh wow, I just have to make a choice and then it's captured, and then it's like, okay, guys, we're gonna go to bed now. Like, I can't.
That person who does like 2 takes and is like, cheers.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess you just have to hope that your instincts were good, and I guess if they are, you get work, and if they're not, you stop doing that.
Are you interested in it?
Yes, I am interested in it. I think I will never stop wanting to do stage stuff, just because like it's a living thing, and like, you know, as we just talked about, like that fascination with like the change and the shift and growing it and lessening it. Like it's such magic to me that but like, you know, I've done a little bit of screen stuff, but not anywhere near as much. And I think what's wonderful about screen stuff is that when you feel like you've nailed it, it's there.
It's there forever.
It's there forever. I never have to worry about it again.
You don't have to do it on the evening as well.
Yeah, I don't do it on the evening well. I don't just have a sad sandwich and then never see my friends and family.
You mentioned the sad sandwich twice. Was that a thing?
It's a lot of sad sandwiches. It's a lot of Pret in this life.
Oh, yeah. You can't beat it.
You can't beat Pret. It. God bless you, Pret. I'll take a subscription. That's fine. Whereas, you know, if you feel like you've really nailed that show that night, you can come out with that glow and then go, who cares? Like, I'm just, it's now gone into the ether.
Lost. Can someone just film it, please?
Please,
and post
someone,
it on
and make sure
YouTube?
It's the best one ever. Because you know, for that 400 people. But also, what's stupid about that is that you can feel like you've done the best show ever, and who knows what they thought? You'd have no idea. And I know I've had shows where I felt like I've just not really. I haven't, for whatever reason, I've just not hit things, or I've just missed little wins of whatever, and come out and people are like, oh my God, that was the best, you've done it. I'm like, what does it mean? Like, there's no...
You don't know.
You don't know.
You should have saw that
was good. You idiots, how dare you think that was good? If there was a film of Mincemeat, I think it would have to be a Muppet version.
Oh,
I think it's the only way
that
it's going
could
to work.
work.
Because I think, again, because of the sort of heightened reality stuff that we talked about, I think I can't see a world in which the gender stuff, the gender swapping works in a way that's not very embarrassing. Could be wrong. And please, I look forward to seeing this played back at me when we've done the film and it's just completely normal except the gender swapped. But I think in the Muppet world, anything goes and it would be absolutely fine. If I was turned up with Kermit the Frog and I was a man, everyone would be like, yeah,
that's actually
fine.
such a good point.
Which
You're full of good points. It's almost like you've thought about it.
It's almost like this is
It sounds like you've lived in it for 2 years or more. I would love to see that. That would really work.
I would love to see it. The only problem is I don't know how au fait Muppets are with portraying Nazis. We'll have to find out.
I forgot about that. Are you a film or TV person?
Oh man, so I'm definitely both. I bore my friends and family all the time with just watching loads of stuff. I'm very much a person who decompresses by sitting down, quiet time. Let's watch the lovely screen. Let's not have conversation. But I think in my heart, I'm a telly person. But having said that, I think like the big revelatory moments of like my sort of creative screen life have been in the cinema and watching films. But I think if someone said to me tomorrow, you can have telly or film for the rest of your life, I think I would die if I didn't get to watch an episode of Peep Show every day with a broadcaster.
Nice, yeah. Because when you were saying telly, I was like, that sounds like you're talking more about like serial comedy rather than like drama or thriller or anything like that.
It is. Well, it is. I guess it is. It's like I think I grew up with I was very lucky in that I kind of grew up in like the golden age of British sitcom.
Yeah.
I like and me and my family would all watch them together. So we would watch like The Office, The Mighty Boosh, League of Gentlemen, and like all these amazing and like Monkey Dust, I'm Not an Animal, and like it's how we would bond as like a family. We'd be like, what? They have your tea, and then we'll watch like 6 hours of comedy, and I was just like, it kind of just rewired my brain. It was a perfect age to kind of get into it, and I just was so like overwhelmed by like the music of comedy and like the character and how it could make you feel so like happy and how it dealt with tragedy. So like the League of Gentlemen, just how that dealt with sadness and absurdity. I was just like, I'm watching a symphony. I'm in front of an orchestra. I was so like overwhelmed by it, and I think I've basically spent my whole life kind of like chasing that high. I
can see the roots of like the character comedy in Mincemeat from that. Actually.
Yeah, it was definitely a huge like influence on us. And so I think whenever and then yes, finding like US comedy, and I think like Office US and Parks and Rec and 30 Rock and again like watching how jokes are constructed and understanding the science of all that, like I just never get bored of it, and I'm just always so fascinated by like how they get across character, how they get across story, how they weave them together, and how they kind of use like horror and tragedy and I think obviously those things exist in film as well, but like I think maintaining it and watching it, sort of zooming into like moments and zooming out to like how they construct a series. I think it's if you're someone who makes that stuff for your job, I think you can go one of two ways. Either it becomes like, that's my job, I'm not interested, or you kind of you just immerse yourself in it like a weird anglerfish, and you just sort of wander around those depths for the rest of your life.
It's not even my job, and I'm so interested in that science of comedy as well. And I actually was speaking to a stand-up comedian, Ali Woods, who does the Fringe as well. And he's the latter, or the former, who's like, that's my job.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make me
I was talking to him about it, and he said, it's a bit too serious. I don't like to talk about comedy seriously.
What?
And I was like, but there is so much in it. Like, and he's doing it, but maybe just not thinking about it. You know?
I mean, I think also like stand up is a different thing as well, because like I think because it's so like insular stand up, and I mean I definitely couldn't do it. I love performing comedy. I love performing comedy characters, but like it's such a brave and like isolating thing to go up on stage and do your thing and like come off stage and analyze it. Whereas all the projects I've ever done really have been in collaboration and in conversation with other people.
Yeah. So you're a TV person.
I'm a TV person, but I love watching films as well. I think it's just TV is my comfort blanket. And films are my little cocktail.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And if you had to pick one, the favourite show, would it be League of Gentlemen or? I
think my favourite show is Peep Show.
So good.
I think I don't know what it says about me that that's my favourite show. I think I'm unnecessarily smug for no reason that Succession has come from those guys, because like Succession is obviously like the evolved Pokemon of
Yes.
Peep Show. Like you can see the lines that sort of waft from Peep Show into Succession. Like I feel like Succession is obviously this unbelievable international success, but it's all there. It's all there in Peep Show. It's just like a tiny baby version.
Yeah.
So I watch an episode of Peep Show almost every day.
Really? Still? Wow.
Still.
That's real
maybe
commitment.
not every day, but at least twice a week I'll watch an episode of Peep Show. I know that I'm maddening. My partner is just like, yeah, you want to watch the little Mark and Jet? I'm like, I just need to just give me 20 minutes. I'm just gonna watch this episode of Peep Show. It just centers my world. Like I just feel like they are such unbelievable writers, and the characters are, and the jazz, the music of the dialogue in that show makes me feel like everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, and I know what you mean. I got like that for a time with like the Ricky Gervais and Carl Pilkington podcast before I started hating Ricky Gervais.
It's a natural progression for everyone.
Yeah, I think we've all been through that.
We've all been there, yeah.
Because we all had the Office love. But anyway,
it's because Office is so good and Extras is so good, and then you're like, Ricky, where you in the sky now?
What happened?
But yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, so I can understand that comfort blanket thing definitely, and Peep Show is so consistent.
It's so consistent.
I wouldn't say. Well, I was going to say above and beyond other shows, but I think not many shows have gone that long.
Yeah, a particular British sitcom. Like, with British sitcom is like classic. It's like 2 series, bye. Like that's what we love to do, and Peep Show just went on and on.
And that was the cool thing to do after Ricky Gervais did it, to do 2 seasons.
2 seasons and out.
And Peep Show just went on and on and on.
And also, I feel like people don't talk about the fact that it literally originated a style of like a camera style of shooting, and no one has ever attempted it again because it was so perfect for what it was.
Yeah.
Like that kind of to camera, like you never see, you're always from the perspective of a character. There's never just a camera in the room.
Yeah.
Like why don't people talk about that?
Yeah,
it's
and
so amazing.
Exactly. And you can do any like speaking as a content creator, which I hate saying now that we've talked about how unbelievable Mincemeat was and everything that you've done. You wrote something for 5 years, and I'm doing like
But
anyway,
forever.
speaking as a content creator, you can't do like a POV like comedy sketch on TikTok or anything without people saying this reminds me of Peep Show.
Yeah,
and it's
of
never
course.
anything like Peep
No,
Show.
it
It's
doesn't
never
matter.
any as good either. But it's just they completely defined that style.
It's just amazing, and like they did that with so many things. I think like, and all the characters are so different. Like I think you get some sitcoms, I will mention no names because it's not kind, but like you get some sitcoms where you just feel like these aren't characters, these are just like nodes with which you've ladled on some dialogue. They are not different. They're just, you're trying to find a way to get your joke said out loud between 2 people, and you can see the script in front of you when you're watching these people interact. And Peep Show, you never feel that. Like a Johnson line is a Johnson line.
I was
through
just
and
thinking
through.
about Johnson.
A Dobby line, like, and all the women as well. Like, you know, it's speaking as a woman in comedy. You can watch quite a lot of shows from that era and feel a bit like shortchanged from a female perspective. And I really feel like with Peep Show, you don't feel that way, in that all the female characters are also fucking awful, but in very very different ways. Like you don't just get like the one woman who's like, uh-oh boys, which you know was the gold standard of comedy for many years. It
works very well.
It's a beautiful thing. Why get rid of it? Ricky Gervais, get on it. But you know, you've got like Nancy, who's the floaty bullshit American, obviously Sophie, and Dobby, and the Russian Elena, who don't, like, she is so awful. Me and my wheat intolerance. Like, I'm just like, oh, I hate her.
Was Johnson a big Ewan Montague like influence in the way that you performed that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
just realised.
He's just Mark. The way he says, where's he going? And in Frankfurt, they're going to a conference in Frankfurt. Just the way he says Frankfurt.
Consultio.
Consultio says covered.
My favourite one is, and I never get it right, but he's something like, I've got a 32-inch plasma in my office.
When you're looking at a document,
when you get a document on a
you are
baby.
seriously looking at
It's the best. And the way he delivers that line is so perfect. I literally watched that clip on YouTube a lot. Looking at that document.
You're seriously looking at that document. And I bet, is it Joseph Pattinson who plays him? Doesn't think about it at all. I think he's just like, okay, if I ever meet him, I'm going to have to try my best to be like, you're so important to me. It's so crucial, the things that you have done. He'd just be like, I don't know, that was like 2 days, 20 years ago of my life.
Can I tell you my favourite line from your performance?
Yes,
actually?
of course.
Because speaking of which, you might not know which lines people love.
No.
I loved the line where you go, beautiful tables and chairs.
Tables and chairs!
It's the best. When you did that, I laughed my
line.
head off the first time I saw that. I almost went back just to see that line. It was so funny.
Well, that's the thing. Like, but now you know about the peep show obsession. I'm sure it all makes. It's like things like beautiful tables and chairs. Just like what a stupid. Beautiful tables and chairs is a stupid line.
Oh my god, it's the best. Do you have a first cinema memory, or even a TV viewing memory with your family? Like the first time you ever sat down and enjoyed something together?
Actually, yes. I think this is a film memory, and I think for better or for worse, this memory has made this film be my favourite film of all time.
Oh, cool.
And I've tried to make it a different film. But actually, I keep coming back to this film because I think it really does. It was like such a crystallizing moment in my childhood. So my family and I went to North Wales on a holiday when I was about 9, and we all got food poisoning at the same time from stroking a small stingray in a shallow pool in an aquarium.
You can get food poisoning from?
Some sort of like maybe bacterial food poisoning.
Right.
We went to a little aquarium and it was like, why did you stroke the stingrays? I was like 9. I was like, yes, we all will. All of us put hands in. Cut to all of us vomiting for a day and a night in this. This story is going somewhere. It's not just a vomit story. So anyway, so we were in this. It was miserable. It was like a shit tiny. Like we weren't. It was like the house was not big. It was meant to be like base camp to go and do adventures. It was like crap. And my dad was like, I'm gonna go to like the nearest shop and see if they have any films just so we can watch. And he was like the least affected. We were all like, okay, Dad, good luck. So we were like, I remember the sofa. I remember bundles and being like, I can't. No one. I'm like, it was the first time I'd been like properly ill. But there was something about like we're all ill. Like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Like kind of feels okay.
Yeah, I think the same about being the same amount of ill as your own mum makes you kind of like, I'm a grown-up. This is how ill grown-ups get.
That's such a good point.
So weird.
Yeah.
So my dad comes back in and he's brought 2 films with him. The first film, which is a very good film, but it's not the film I've chosen, is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which I'd never seen before. We watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And I was like, wow, amazing film. The second film, it became my favourite film of all time, instantly upon watching it, and that film was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Wow. I have never seen it.
Oh my god!
I have to see it now.
It is the most incredible movie I've ever seen in my life, and maybe it's because I watched it when I was 9, high off stingray food poisoning. But I've watched it many times since.
That's the key, because I've had that experience before. I've seen it in the perfect environment. Like I remember, I did a film degree at uni, and one of the days I
didn't make you watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I know what's going on. Yeah, tonight I'll do it tonight. I was so horrendously hungover one day, and went in and watched this documentary about. It was called The 5 Obstructions. It was called, and it was
very fancy.
Anyway, it was fancy, and there's actually no point me describing it. I had a 10 out of 10 experience. I was crying my eyes out to this documentary, and then I went back. And I realised it was just because I was hungover and maybe a bit emotionally vulnerable. I don't know.
Imagine if your favourite film of all time was called The 5 Obstructions.
Yeah.
You would have no friends.
Cinema snacks of choice when you do go to the cinema, and you can smuggle things in, even though we are sponsored by Cineworld.
You can, but you should. So I'd say I never have the wherewithal to smuggle. I just don't pre-think about it enough.
Okay.
So I'm a perfect sucker. I'm a perfect patsy for the astronomical, incredibly fair. Thank you, Cineworld.
Well, you're propping up the industry,
I'm
so
industry.
You know what?
I'm a hero of industry. And my snack of choice, I'm more of a savoury person than a sweet person in any situation. And so, unfortunately, I am nachos with the sloppy cheese through and through.
No way.
Yeah.
Because the guest I had on before you, we agreed that it's just too much to deal with in the dark.
Oh no! If you got my dexterity, don't even worry about it.
So you don't mind if you get a sloppy one, or one that's covered in sauce, or one
God's
that's just
creatures are
dry?
accepted here.
You'll just have the dry one. It's fine. I'll get a sloppy one soon.
It's variety is the spice of life. You don't know what's going on. And also, I tend to, because I'm completely in agreement with those who are like, when the film starts, you should not be having crunchy things. That's very bad. They shouldn't really sell nachos to begin with. It's insane that they do.
It's their fault.
It's dangerous. Yeah. It's crunchy. It's hot. It's like every possible danger you can put inside a food in the dark is contained within nachos.
Yeah, why do they do that?
And yet I get them every time.
Yeah.
So basically, so the lights tend to not go fully dark.
Yeah.
as I'm sure you know, as a
Yes.
film aficionado and a professional of Cineworld, until the film like starts proper. You've
Yeah.
got a little bit of time. So what happened? I tend my method, if you can be called that, which I think you can, is that I tend to like come in, maybe just like end of the ads before the trailers. That's the sweet spot, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's where you want to be in. Sit down, and basically you can't sit with a delicious, steamy, hot pile of nachos and not immediately just go.
If you
fucking
do
to
that,
town.
you are psychotic.
Just disgusting. And so I'm already in. Like, don't worry about it. Everyone around me is like, oh no, it's nachos. I want to psychically communicate to them. Don't you worry, guys. This is being dealt with.
So
supreme efficiency.
the
and will
half
be
lights
done.
down is almost your cue to be like, it's a timer, really.
This is 10
10 minutes.
and it's a perfect time because I've got
Yeah.
the half light glinting off the cheese.
Oh.
I can just about see where I'm putting. Yeah, there's still an element of danger
Yeah.
keeping them spicy,
Yeah.
but I basically know what I'm doing. I know what.
Guys,
Don't worry
know
about
what
it.
I'm doing.
I spray nacho. Guys, don't worry. So
Yeah.
by the time my dream is that I'm done with my snack by the time the trailers have finished. So that for the film, I'm clean, I'm clear,
Yeah.
I'm full of disgusting cheese nacho goodness.
the title card comes up,
and
your
I
mouth's
set
stuffed
it
with the
aside,
last few.
And my neighbours go, can she have done it?
And you go, see?
See, I told you it could be done.
Yeah.
I pop the empty tray down. I'm like, guys, welcome to the cinema.
It sounds like a great method. The only thing it's missing, actually, if I do pick something like
Please
nachos
do.
or popcorn, is that I quite like the darkness to trick me into thinking that I've finished. And then there's actually more. I love that feeling. Sometimes I do it with ice cream where I'm like, I'm kind of mining one recess of the bucket. but
Knowing
then
to yourself that
there's
there's a
another
different
side.
recess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
Yeah,
the best
old
feeling.
self-trickery.
But it is the nicest thing to do to crinkle before.
To get it all done. I think it's as well, like, I like popcorn, but there's so much of it. I can't, when people come in with the big, I'm like, how are you doing? This is just one taste.
It's a lot.
A single taste for this much of taste.
It's a lot, and we wouldn't do it in any other environment.
No.
Like, it reminds me of when I was at school. You know when there's like mature students who can drink before you? And he came back from the pub once. I was 16, he was like 19. And he said, it's weird, isn't it? I was like, what? He said, you would only ever have 1 pint of water and you don't want water for the rest of the day. Why is it I go to the pub and I want 7 pints of beer and I want more? And I'm like, it's the same with popcorn.
It's
I would
unbelievable.
never eat that much
No.
of anything.
I watch people because I can't drink pints. I would
I
be in the
can't-
loo
I
every.
can't either.
Can't drink them, and also,
No.
but it's the same thing. I'm like, that is so much liquid for one taste.
Yes.
And you'll go and get 9 of them.
Yeah, and like,
Do you love this?
I'd
It's
like
not-
some more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. Not to, it's that Peep Show thing. If you spend time with me, all I do is quote Peep Show.
Yeah.
But like, it's that thing when Jeremy's looking at wine and he's like, "What's a good wine?" He goes, "It's delicious." I mean, it's not really delicious like hot chocolate or Coke, but for wine,
Yeah.
this is delicious. I feel that way about beer. I'm just like, that can't be that delicious.
I
It
feel like
can't
that
be.
way. It's the biggest kind of lie. I feel like everyone's punking me or something.
Yeah.
Like, beer's not tasty.
It's not tasty.
To be honest-
people do like it, but it is not tasty.
No, yeah. Popcorn, I feel quite similar about popcorn. Like, when everyone's like, oh, I love a bit of, like, mixed sweet and salty, I'm like, pick one. Pick a side.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Don't be pathetic.
How
We'll
can-
do a thing. My friends do a thing where they get like salty popcorn and they'll get another bag of chocolate things and like put it in. I'm like, they are sinking to the bottom.
Yes.
Don't you tell me. You've seen the density difference between a popcorn kernel and a fucking
You're asking for trouble.
Malteser? Maybe not Malteser. Actually, Maltesers would work quite well. But like, yeah,
That
that's
could do
all
well.
you're doing is
Actually,
just.
yeah, that would do very
That
well.
would actually do that.
Yeah, sorry.
But they're
Yeah.
not using Maltesers. They're using
M&Ms.
dense. They're
Using
using
M&Ms.
dense M&Ms.
Yeah.
And M&Ms what they think is happening is like, there's like a swirl of M&Ms to the top of it's like a fucking sundae. That's
No.
not happening. You're getting all your popcorn, and at the bottom there's a layer of weird, salty,
Yes.
chocolatey bits.
Gloop. I would argue that the same with nachos, though. You get to the bottom and it is just a dry
Not if you're
crisp.
quick.
Not if you Okay. It really just gets
The
it all up in
quickness
there.
is absolutely, because also that cheese is good for like 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Because like then you get the film on top. You got to be quick. You got to be like a ninja, nacho ninja.
Okay, Nacho Ninja. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's your next musical.
That's the next musical, but that's
Nacho
all part
Ninja.
of it. That my heart's pounding as I'm entering the cinema. I've got I've got like a heist to perform. It's like there's a time limit. The sun's going down.
Yeah.
There's things to perform. People around me are relying on me to get this done.
I want to see this live. I'm going to book next year, the next time you go to cinema. The next question usually is your life on screen, but I feel like what would your life be on screen? But I feel like Mincemeat on screen is the answer.
Yes,
and,
I think
and
so.
And you would do that.
I would love to do that. Yeah, I feel like I don't know my life on screen. I think I've spent so much of the last few years on a stage.
Yeah.
Like dedicating like so much time to that as like my job, and like I think when your job is an evening job, it's a very strange situation because like everyone has fun in the evenings. That's just the thing we've decided on as a culture. That's when you see your friends. That's when you do your hobbies.
Yeah, you go to the theatre.
You go to the theatre. Exactly. Have a great time at Operation Mincemeat at the Fortune Theatre, now on in London's West End. And if your job is evening, then the day becomes a strange hinterland, and you it becomes a very strange universe where you don't really see the people you love very much.
So is it like your job is your life? More so than people who are like, I work till 8 p.m.
I mean, it's hard to say that my job is hard. Like, yeah, people who work from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. don't know how hard it is for me to go and stroll in the theatre.
I'm not going to say all jobs, but honestly, I would say that what you did has to be up there as one of the hardest things.
It's very physically demanding, and I think psychologically demanding insofar as like doing the same thing day in, day out, like the repetition of it does send you quite bananas.
Something that's torturous about it, even though you love it.
Even though I love it, yeah. I mean, but I do kind of feel that's all jobs, though. Like, I feel like there's no job in the world that's like every aspect of it forever is just, I can't believe I get to do it. Like, you know, that's just having a job. Basically, just to say, it's hard for me to imagine, like, who am I if I was on a screen? It was like, it's very hard for me to detangle, I guess.
You're finding that out now.
Yeah, exactly.
In your post-Mincemeat life.
My post-Mincemeat life, yeah. I'm finding out I've got very passionate opinions about nachos, apparently. Yeah.
Are there any films about that kind of stage or acting experience that have done well? So I'm thinking, what was the one with Andrew Garfield? It was about writing the Sondheim musical or something.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good example of a screen musical for the reason that we've talked about, in that it is weirdly heightened.
Right, yeah.
That is called Tick Tick Boom.
That's it.
And that actually was a stage musical to begin with by the guy who wrote Rent.
Yes.
Jonathan, musical gods, I can't remember his last name. So he, it's a really interesting story and really good, particularly if you are a person who creates things, because it's the story of a man who was determined to be a success and who was kind of entering his 30s and not had his big thing. And he wrote this amazing, huge space opera, which he was like, that's going to be the thing. And then, of course, it's not, because no one wants that, unfortunately.
No.
And then he went on to write the next thing, which was Rent, which became obviously a huge success.
Yeah.
And so I think I that spoke to me quite a lot, in that's a film very much about like watching everyone around you sort of go, we're going to do proper things now, and we're going to own houses, and we're going to have families and have clothes that don't have stains on them.
And you have to remain committed to your idea.
It's that thing of, do you get shit or get off the pot? Like, do you kind of just go, and that like, it wasn't exactly like that was the musical for us, but it was very much like we were aware that we were Fringe theatre makers and Fringe comedy makers, and we hadn't like had a big break or anything, but we loved doing it. But it was very much like, we need to turn this into something that makes any money, because otherwise we are gonna go back to getting proper jobs. And I think watching that film was very much like, I know a lot of people, and I still feel myself in that situation of like, is it silly to dedicate your life to something so ephemeral and so, in a way, childish as making stories and making songs and making up dances? Like, it really grapples with that.
I would argue it's not ephemeral or childish. But the government would not.
The government would like to say, go and train in tech, for God's sake.
Yeah. Okay, so your life on screen will say is Mincemeat, because you're still discovering your life.
I'm still growing into my own life, yeah.
When you go to see Mincemeat, and when it is a film,
yes,
where are you sitting in a regular sized cinema, much bigger than this one?
Yes, the crowds will be immense.
That's
so
right, you'll be the IMAX.
It can't be the Wembley, IMAX. It might be Mincemeat 3D. And,
What would be your seat of choice? Because obviously, I'm getting a lot of people. I say in middle, which is the standard choice. But I thought there'd be a lot more people being like, oh, I like the back corner because I'm by myself, or like, I like the aisle because I can stick my legs out. I think
the crucial thing is just not front. Front is hell. I went to I went to see him with my family, and IMAX. I can't remember. Maybe it was like a.
You went. Sorry, I'm just predicting where this is going. You sat at the front for an IMAX film.
Yeah, with my family, with my poor parents. It was like Boxing Day. What were we watching? It'll be like a Marvel or something.
Wow.
And we just foolishly were like, that'll be such a fun Boxing Day activity. We'll turn up, and by the time you turn up, we've driven the 20 minutes to the cinema.
Yeah.
It's Boxing Day. We're not going back home. No. And it was like, well, yes, there are 4 seats available together. Unbelievable, on the front row. And like, there's that moment where you're looking at each other and it's like, are we? And it's like, there's no.
Are we gonna stay?
Are we gonna like? I think that'll be fine. And then it's just 2 hours of like.
Yeah, because that's like this. That's like looking directly
it was
up.
Awful.
Wow.
And, like, you're watching dialogue like. and then you're over there.
Yeah.
So certainly not the front. I think my parents are still not forgiven us for the worst Boxing Day ever.
Have you been back to IMAX and done the back?
I don't know that I have. Maybe
it's
is the back best for
the backs.
IMAX?
I will go middle,
of course.
like everyone. But a lot of the kind of aficionados go back.
Yes, I like a back. I think a back is cool. I think it's reminds
nice.
me of being like a teenager and being like, gonna go at the back.
The thing is, in this section, I have a little seat plan that I bring up here, and I put the guests in a Fred cinema in the seat. Problem is, everyone's saying middle, so everyone's in the same fucking row. I'm going to put you at the back.
Okay, I want to go at the back because I want to be showing bits of nachos.
Bits of nachos, your crumbs over them. Yeah,
I'm going to be the rowdy teen at the back, making out. Yeah, with anyone who's there.
Great. So yeah, you might have the whole row to yourself, by the way.
Oh no, someone's making out with me. Come on, I'm not making out with myself.
Okay, yeah, I'll put someone making out next to you.
Thank you.
Who do you want to be next to you making out with you?
Oh, such a good question. Who do I want to make out with?
Just your partner. I'll put a shadow, and it'll just be your partner.
Andy can be there, or Channing Tatum if Andy's not available.
Oh yeah, as well.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's a party. Everyone can have an nacho.
So Ping Pong Pop Culture is you pick a category and of any category to do with film or TV. For example, Tom Cruise movies.
Oh wow.
And then you go back and forth naming them until one of you can't name another one.
Shit.
So
okay, what categories have you had recently?
We've had films begin with M. We've had Studio Ghibli movies, which is like animated films.
Yeah.
We've had Marvel stuff. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones I can remember. We could do musicals. Anything you think you'd be good at?
Good musicals? I don't really like good musicals. Let's go Disney.
Disney?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just
thinking if I've got... Yeah. Are we doing Pixar as well?
I mean, Disney owns everything, so technically they could name any film in the world.
Yeah.
I think it has to be animated, not
original
CG.
Okay.
I think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we may run out of like 4.
Let's go for like original Disney up until the Pixar began. You know, like
so
core
like the Toy
Disney.
Story cut-off.
Yes. We'll do that. And you go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast.
Cinderella.
Aladdin.
Nice. Fox and the Hound.
Oh, Fox and the Hound!
I love Fox and the Hound.
You should have saved that for later on. That was a really niche
that
one.
was my,
to put that's like your ace in the hole.
Yeah, exactly.
What have I said already? The Lion King.
Fantastic. What's the one like Futurismo? What was it called?
Futurismo?
Pinocchio.
Pinot Noiro?
I'm going to say Pinocchio. Sorry. I got myself tangled up.
You got yourself in a tizzy. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Brilliant. I'm going to go for Emperor's New Groove. Disney, right?
That's post. I'm pretty sure that's post Toy Story.
Okay, let me go again.
And the rules of this game.
Dumbo.
Shit.
Yeah, it's my game.
It's your game. I'm not trying to school you on your game. But Fantasia.
That was the one I was thinking of.
Was.
Yeah. Never saw it.
It's weird.
Have you said the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Yes.
Cool. I'd like to therefore say Sleeping Beauty. Is that one?
Yeah. That's one. Fuck. Have I said Aladdin? Yeah, haven't I?
You have said Aladdin.
Shit. Tarzan.
Ooh, that's got to be post, hasn't it? I'll give you it.
You're a more generous man than I.
But that's got to be post. And now I'm trying to think of Jungle Book.
Oh, Bug!
Yes.
Jungle Book.
I started singing the elephant one. Is
that when they're marching?
Yeah.
Mulan.
Oh, cool. Good one. It's getting tough.
Because I was thinking about "He Will Make a Man Out of You," which is
such a good
song.
tune. That should be West End.
Maybe the best Disney song ever written, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Struggling. I am struggling. There's so many.
I know there's so many. What are we doing? There's more. I'm sure there's like more like little fairy ones.
Oh. Robin Hood.
I'm so disappointed in myself.
Because that's a good one, isn't it?
That's a great one, and has the sexy fox in it, which is every woman's dream guy.
The star is, what is that? The snake's like, oh.
Hiss.
And he's like, you're tickling my ear.
Yeah, you're tickling my ear.
Oh, it's so good.
And then the crown's too big for him, so he just keeps falling down his head.
Oh, I love that film.
That is such a good shout. Fuck. Okay, come on.
Might have smashed it with that one.
No, that was an absolute blinder. Some older ones. Mary Poppins doesn't count, does it really? Because it's part animation. Part animation?
I don't have another one, so I'll give you the win with Mary Poppins.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's an honourable draw, but we'll take the win.
Natasha Hodgson, thanks so much for coming on FREDFLIX, brought to you by Cineworld. Is there anything you'd like to plug, or would you like to just say you're on fucking holiday and you don't plug anything?
Do I have anything to plug? Obviously, go see the musical if you've not seen it already. And I guess I have a Substack I could plug.
Okay.
I have a Substack, tashhodgson.substack.com, where it's called All Good Stuff, which I just talk about books and TV and games and songs that I really like.
Perfect thing to plug.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Also, your Instagram, what's that? Do you care about
Tash
people?
Hodge. Yeah, it's my Instagram. I don't really use Instagram except for weird photos of garbage. But you can follow that if you enjoy weird photos of garbage.
Yes, I'm sure people would love to.
Yeah, at Tash Hodge. That's
thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.